And I do want to touch upon the point that the chairman made about how the administration hasn't been quick enough. One of the things that we've heard, not just from critics of the war who don't want to support it, but even from people who do support it, is that there can't be a blank check. That's been sort of the criticism that you take if you want to sort of make it sound like you're still with Ukraine, but you want to be responsible. And I think that's appropriate, okay? But no blank check means no blank check. It means we don't just send everything that people ask for in the blink of an eye without even thinking about it, okay? We think about it, and we get the Ukrainians what they really need. And I'm going to go ahead and hit upon one of those examples because I think this is a really good example of the problem, and that is the F-16, which everyone has become obsessed over here in recent weeks. We have considered that request, and I've had many conversations with the witnesses before us and with the DOD as well. And the honest truth is the cost of trying to get the F-16 up and ready to operate in Ukraine, even if we basically said there's nothing more important than that one weapon system and all of our time and all of our resources on doing it, best case scenario, we could maybe get some operational F-16s into Ukraine within a year, maybe 8 months if we really pushed it. And this is getting lucky, all right? Because you don't just have to train the pilots. You have to train the mechanics. You have to have airfields that can accommodate the F-16. And you have to have the spare parts to make it work. So we looked at that, and we determined that is not a wise use of the resources that are necessary to win the fight. That's what no blank check means. You don't just send it without thinking about it. We thought about it and reached a very intelligent conclusion that this is not the right system. And oh, by the way, a fourth-generation fighter in this particular fight is going to struggle to survive. There are isolated circumstances where the Ukrainians have been able to use the MiG-29s that they have, very isolated, because it's a fourth-generation fighter in the face of a ton of air defense. What we are getting the Ukrainians is those air defense systems that they desperately need to survive right now, and the artillery and the HIMARS and the weapon systems that they do need. So the administration is doing exactly what it needs to do, getting equipment as quickly and as responsibly as possible to make this work. And I also want to make everybody aware of the fact the Russians are fighting a massive information campaign. Yes, they're fighting on the battlefield, and I'll look forward to hearing more details about that today. But they are also trying to break the coalition. The Russian military has performed incredibly poorly. The Ukrainians have performed incredibly heroically, and the war is not going the way that Putin wanted it to. But he is not giving up. And he knows his only hope is to break the coalition that is trying to support Ukraine. And they're trying to do that in a variety of different ways. I mean, you can see all the different arguments about how, well, NATO really started this because of NATO expansion and a whole lot of other nonsense arguments that are circulating out there. But the other part of the way they're doing it is any break in the coalition they see, they're poking and they're prodding, okay? They want to undermine the Biden administration. So while we have constructive criticism of what's going on, let's make sure that that criticism is constructive and we maintain our unity. And I know it is very difficult for the folks on the other side of the aisle to say anything positive about the Biden administration. But part of holding this coalition together is to acknowledge the incredible job that has been done in the last year and to maintain that unity and to not jump at every shiny object that seems to be criticism of the Biden administration, like the F-16. Right now, and I've asked this question, we are getting every single weapon system that we can to Ukraine. There is not a decision being made about that might be escalatory. It's about what can we get to them? How can we maintain the support? We've spent a lot of money. There is not a limitless amount of money or a limitless amount of equipment. So I think those decisions are being made wisely. I look forward to this hearing. I think it's perfectly appropriate that we have aggressive oversight, as we've had since the beginning. And that's part of the reason why we've been as successful to date as we have been. With that, I yield back. I look forward to hearing from our witnesses.